welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back once again with another 24/7 news report. We start our news report as always with our headline news, and our headline news today is that Christophe Galtier, Rafa Benitez, Graham Potter, Ralf Rangnick, David Moyes and Roberto Martinez are all still on the Everton managers shortlist. This does come via The Athletic. For me, obviously, this hasn't changed an awful lot from the rumoured ones, and I think we've spoke a lot about some of the rumoured ones, Roberto Martinez, Graham Potter we've mentioned on the channel. We've mentioned Galtier, who seems to be very popular with Everton fans. It's interesting Ralf Rangnick gets a mention again. For those who might not know of Ralf Rangnick, he was in charge of Schalke and a couple of other teams in Germany. But he's more noted, I'd say, for two things. One, building RB Leipzig up from the ground when Red Bull took over. Not just as a manager, but also as a director of football. He's a very astute director of football. And he's a very intelligent man. He helped build them. He's helped find players like Timo Werner. He basically helped build the squad you see now, and the squad that broke into the Bundesliga. And above all else, he's actually the father of the Gegen pressing system. That's right, the Gegen pressing system that most German managers tend to use now, some more than others. He actually fathered it. He was the one who invented it. He's also known for high attacking football, high pressing, so very intense football, and zonal marking, which obviously Everton fans will have quite a bad relationship and experience with. But that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means we've probably had managers that aren't too sure about how to do it. So he's quite an interesting name. He is, like I said, he's the godfather of that. He's inspired the likes of Ralph Hasenhüttl, who we've seen in the Premier League of late. Thomas Tuchel, who's doing very well in the Premier League of late. Jurgen Klopp, who has done very well in recent years. Not so much this year. And Julian Nagelsmann, who has just got the Bayern Munich job after getting RB Leipzig to finish second. And for one point, we're right up there with Bayern. It's only in the last couple of games they let that slip. So, he's clearly got quite an effect. Like I said, he's helped build Leipzig up to the team that you see today. When he managed them, actually, the last time he managed was in the 2019-20 season. And he actually finished third, which I'm going to assume was below Dortmund that year, but still, third's a great achievement. He did get them to the DFB Pokal final, but they lost to Bayern Munich. But it's the German league. Who doesn't go to the final to then lose it to Bayern Munich? No disrespect to the German league, but Bayern run the show, don't they? So he's a very interesting name. It is interesting to see how he'd work with Brands, because he won't be the director of football, he would just be the coach, and Brands would be our director of football. So you'd hope that, or Brands is meant to be, so you'd sort of hope he does the transfers. But I mean, this is a manager who is well known for buying good players, normally German, and it was a bit easier in his home country. I don't know how well he'd fare over here. But the guy clearly knows talent when he sees it. I'd quite like high pressing, high attacking football at Goodison Park. I think that'd be very entertaining for the fan base. I don't know if we've got the players to facilitate those needs right now. But he's an exciting name, and he's a name that we haven't spoke about on the channel as much. So I just wanted to break that down for you, in case you didn't know, tell you a little bit about him. He did also manage Schalke for 2 stints, I believe, and he did all right at Schalke. I had a little bit of a research into him before doing this video. And he's got quite high win ratios as well, which, take with a pinch of salt on certain managers in certain areas. But this is mainly in the top flight of Germany. I think one of the lowest I saw was 40 like mid-40s to high 40s. A couple of times, I think one of his last Leipzig spells was 58% win ratio. And that's quite impressive. Anything over, 45, you're starting to look at quite a good manager. So he does look like a really exciting person. I don't know if he's high up on Everton's agenda, because I'm seeing a lot more Roberto Martinez's, David Moyes' worryingly, being topped around more than him. I'm seeing Galtier as well, who I did hear a rumour he's going to Nice, but I mean, this is football. I've also read that Lille don't intend to let him go cheap, so that means nothing's signed. And until something's signed, and we've seen him there in the Nice scarf, don't take everything with a pinch of salt. Everything can still happen. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. We also have the news that Everton are impressed by former player Nikolai Vlasic, who is currently at CSKA Moscow and having a very good stint there. The club do intend to return for him in the summer, but any transfer will happen after the Euros, and this has come from Bob Soccer in Russia. I mean, Everton are a romantic club, aren't they? We're linked with David Moyes, we're linked with Roberto Martinez, and now we're after Nikolai Vlasic. We brought Wayne Rooney back a couple of seasons ago. Everton love... they're such a romantic... We're such a romantic club, aren't we? We are the romancers of football. We love a good comeback story. We hope and pray for it all the time, clearly. I mean... If he has a good Euros, he's going to cost us a lot of money. Jokes aside, he will cost us a lot of money if he has a good Euros. And I think he is one of the standout stars in that Russia squad. So, he will be noticed more than his other compatriots. I mean, he looked good when he was with us. There were rumours that, his attitude and he didn't like the manager, who I believe at the time was Ronald Koeman. So, can't completely blame him. But we'll have to wait and see. He does look a really good player. I just think this could potentially cost us quite a lot with it being after the Euros. Obviously, we spoke earlier on this week about brands wanting some transfers done before the Euros. That's clearly not happened. But for the reason of competitiveness and, teams start to sell players for a higher price because the demand's there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. I do also have news that Everton are linked with former Lyon manager Rudi Garcia. He left Lyon after guiding the club to 4th in Ligue 1, missing out on the Champions League slot. And according to El Equipe, Everton have made contact, but negotiations are still early. This, again, very interesting. This shortlist seems to be getting longer and longer. I don't know if the board fully understand what a shortlist is, but names seem to be getting thrown in the hat every day. So, I mean, he's not my first choice from, former French league managers. And I don't think he's high up on Everton's expectations. I think what this is padding in case a couple of Everton's main ones say no. So we'll have to wait and see. We also have the news that Rafa Benitez is highly unlikely to be joining Everton. This has come from Sky Sports journalist Vinny O'Connor, who told Sky that basically, although there's no official comments, they have been told to play down the noise right now. Play it right down because Everton are in an extensive process that they're taking their time over because they want to get the right man for the job. They said that they do understand that Everton do like Rafa Benitez, but due to his links with Liverpool, they're worried that he wouldn't be accepted with the fan base. And I mean, I think that's the right call. Play it right down. Don't have him. I don't know if the fan base will accept him. It's not worth the risk. I personally wouldn't accept him. He called us a small club, and he meant it at the time. I personally believe. I think he meant it. Just play. There's plenty of managers out there that we'd rather have. There's plenty of managers. Just leave this alone. I think personally. But yeah, we also have the news that David Moyes is set to sign a 3-year deal with West Ham. This has come from numerous media outlets saying that there is a verbal agreement, and Moyes could sign the deal next week. For me, this makes sense. He's had a great season at West Ham. He deserves the deal that they're offering him. Sign the deal. Sign the deal. There's another name off this shortlist. There's one less fan feared. Sign the deal. Take your reward. Stay at West Ham. HITC have cited Photosport. Claims that Everton have made an offer for Fatih Terim after Brand spoke to the Galatasaray boss. Turkish media claim Terim could be set to lose his job and the 67-year-old will be sacked unless Burak Elmas wins the presidential elections. I read a bit about this the other day. I think he is Iranian, and I think Fahad Mashiri is a fan of him. I personally don't think this is a good idea. I don't think he's a good enough manager for us. I think there's better options on our list once again, but I think this is mainly Everton covering their backs in case the ones we want we don't get. I'm hoping that's the case anyway. I think that's a little bit wishful thinking that he's actually 8th on the list and not, 4th or 5th. But we'll have to wait and see. This manager merry-go-round's going around the world, and from what I've read, Everton do intend to take their time, which I think is the right call ultimately. You want the right man, it will take time. West Ham have lined up Frank Lampard as a potential alternative if David Moyes, for whatever reason, doesn't sign the new deal next week. Football Insider says that West Ham have told them they've paid the groundwork for Lampard to take over if Moyes backs out at the last minute and decides to join Everton. David Moyes does still have family up here in up here in the north. I think it's in Lancashire. So you can see why, and obviously he thinks fondly of Everton, so you can see why West Ham are worried. I can see him signing the deal though. I don't think Everton have given him enough interest for him to turn it down. So I can see him signing it, to be completely honest. But it is interesting that former West Ham player Frank Lampard is linked with the job. But that is all the news that we've got time for today. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends, your family, all the Blues you know. Comment down below on anything we've discussed today. Mention, do you think Fatih Terim could be a good replacement? Are you excited? Does Ralph Rangnick excite you? Are you happy? Are you happy that this could be the end of David Moyes being linked with us? What's your thoughts on Nikolaj Vlasic? Do we go back for him? Has he matured to the player that we clearly saw the potential in? Just let us know down below any of your thoughts. As always, I love reading them through. As does everyone here at the Toffee Blues. And don't forget, you can follow me and the Toffee Blues on Twitter. Our socials will be in the description down below. Make sure you do that for all your Everton news. And most importantly, take care, guys.